Cool. Yeah, we're live. So, guys, welcome to the third EP of Hacker Hangouts. Thank you so much for joining in. Today, we are joined by Ayush, or Lucifer as he prefers to go. He's the co founder of Orbit. It's the Decentralized Oracle Network on Arweave and AO. So before we get started into the main presentation, Ayush, do you want to give a background about yourself? Say a bit about how you got in the Web3 space and also how you found out about Arweave and your journey here, basically.
Yeah, sure. So I'll go ahead with that. Hello, everyone. I'm Lucifer, and uh, my name is Ayush, but I prefer to go by Lucifer. I was introduced in Web3 industry in 22 by one of my fellow mates, Megabyte. He's my co-founder right now, and we started as a community member, and we founded the largest Polygon guild around the globe. And then from there, we went into development because again, we are the software engineers, so why not go for development rather than community? And then last year, there was this Arweave India Hacker House going on, and I stumbled upon it through Twitter, and I found it very interesting. And then I attended all the community calls, and there were some uh, tasks, and I completed it. And I was lucky to be one of the 30 members who were the part of Hacker House, which was in India Blockchain Week in 2023 December. And there, my team, Sarthak was one of them, and then me, and there was one more guy, and we all created this product with which there was one-click migration from uh, S3 buckets to Arweave, and it was a pretty fun hacking. Whole hacker house was very fun for us. To be honest, I never wrote a smart contract in JavaScript before that, but smart weave contracts were written in JavaScript, and it was a mind blowing for me because personally, I am more of a backend and infrastructure developer. So first time I actually wrote a smart contract, and I loved it. And from then I realized there was no Oracle, and after winning the hacker house, we went back to our normal life. I was hacking into looking into more what Arweave can do, what is there to Arweave. At that time there was no AO, so we were looking into that. And then in January, Sam came to India, and Arweave India made it possible so that we could we could meet with Sam. So that was the life changing event for me personally. So I met with Sam and discussed that there are no oracles on Arweave, how this problem is being tackled. So Sam told me this problem hasn't been tackled yet. There was one oracle by Permaswap, but that is also semi centralized oracle. So there he introduced AO to us, and we hacked on it. Like I still remember Ankush, Rohit, and everyone present there, and we were mind blown because the tech is so good that it was it could change everything with how Arweave works. I don't know how much of you know or work with Smart Weave contract, but man, developer experience, from a Smart Weave to AO contract went from 1 to 100. The developer experience here is so good. So it's like that. And then there we hacked and we discussed the architecture for Orbit, and there Orbit was incepted. And then again, Arweave India come into picture. They helped us, initial month with their launchpad program, and that was I think if you are a new builder, opportunities like this is very rare to find. You should try to get into that, and yeah, and then everyone knows Orbit, and yeah, we are working to build Orbit a decentralized Oracle platform. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for the throwback there. I think a lot of memories there. So
Yeah.
just sharing a bit of my own memories from Ayush's journey, I would say he had exams. I think when he was participating in our challenges, so he submitted his project at the very last moment, and then it was pretty good. So we got him in the hacker house. He despite having exams, he was very determined, and he was very active in the Discord, which we really we were looking for passionate devs. And then he came to the hacker house. I think the first 1.5 days we were just discussing what to build, but then the S3 bucket ideas was super cool. and then he I think gave a really nice presentation as well. So yeah, that was awesome. And then particularly with the Jam with Sam session, it's like. It was so energized. We had this whiteboard, and in like a couple of hours, they just like drew out the entire orbit infrastructure, and then that's how like the whole orbit process kicked off. So yeah, super cool journey, and excited to have an Arweave India project on Hacker Hangouts. Ayush, why don't you like dive into the main topic? Tell us a little about Orbit, what you're going to demo, and then yeah, just go ahead with it.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, as I told you, there was no Oracle, and Orbit is the first ever decentralized Oracle on Arweave. But Orbit is not like your normal Oracle, which gives you price feeds or resource data or some limited type of data. Think of it something sort of a bridge between internet and AO supercomputers. So what Orbit is doing is you have any data on the internet on any link, be it HTML page, be it be it JSON data, be it any file, be it audio, video, anything. You just give the link to Orbit. Orbit decentralized node network will fetch that and give it to you. Obviously, you have to pay certain fees for that in Orbit tokens. That is a different thing. Currently, we are not, currently that is not in the picture. But if you want to try out, there are Orbit points which are, again, I am saying that it's a testnet token. It don't hold any value. So don't be like, going for Orbit points. But yeah, mainly Orbit points is here to just give people the idea how things will be working at the end when everything is ready. So yeah, you let's say you have a you have a JSON file which you want to get, and based on that you want to create a prediction market. So what you can do, you can just feed that particular URL to Orbit, and Orbit process will get that particular JSON file, and you can create your own prediction market based on that. Now the best part is that is where AO comes into the picture, and create a cron over Orbit, and from that you can query that particular JSON each second, each 5 minutes, or whatever you want to do, based so that you can get the real data at the same time. If you go into deeper structure of any current present Oracle, usually what they do is they are working on the basis of consensus. So what I mean by that is they usually take multiple multiple data like from different sources and take a time average, or uh, there are different type of average mechanism. Usually they go by Uniswap's algorithm, that is pretty decent one till now. So they take a time average and then give you a particular price. So exactly, if you think about it, that is a very restrictive approach, because time average or average works only on numerical data. It won't work on text data or any other type of data. So that's why we come up with this oracle where you are not restricted with a particular data, and at the same time you are not dependent on Orbit or any other person so that they can enable that particular link so that you can access that data. You just give the link and you will have that data. How we are going to do it? So I'm not going to bore you with the all technical stuff. I'll just tell you the basic. If you want to know more, you can connect with me anytime through Twitter or Discord of Orbit. So that is that. So the main thing what we are doing is, let's say you have a browser, let's say Chrome or anything, and you go to www.binance.com. So your browser gets to know that this particular data is coming from Binance.com, and that is enabled by SSL and TLS. These are the two technologies which enabled it. Before SSL and TLS, there was very good type of attack that used to happen, that is known as man in the middle attack. To avoid that, Internet Society come up with these two things, SSL and TLS. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to recreate this SSL and TLS checksum on chain on AO, so that we can verify the data has come from the same source and data hasn't been changed. So this is a very easy way of saying it, but under the hood it's very difficult problem to solve. But yeah, so that's the goal, what we are doing right now.
Yeah, I think it's pretty neat when you like went through this whole thing and said this is the easy way. I can't imagine what goes on the back end. I'm sure people
Yeah.
will have a few questions. That reminds me, guys. If you have any questions throughout this session, drop them in the chat here, and you can also drop them in a forum that we'll later create for sharing resources and interacting with Lucifer. Um, so Lucifer, why don't you tell us a bit about how you're going to demo, how people can get started with Orbit, and yeah,
Yes.
perhaps share your screen so we can get started on that.
Yeah. I'll be sharing a screen. Before that, I'll give the quick demo. So, as I told you, I am more of a developer. So I'll be going with a hands-on, hands-on workshop. A very light one, not very, nitty-gritty. It's very simple one. What we are building is, if you are in the blockchain ecosystem, or if you are not, then also let me tell you that generating a random number is not very easy part, because randomness is something which is not created in the deterministic system, and blockchain are the deterministic system. So to do that, usually oracles provide that particular thing. But what with Orbit, you don't need, you don't need to be dependent. Technically, you need to be, but you can get that randomness from your source. Like, let's say you want to get the source of, like, CERN. So CERN has this, particular piece of atom, and from the atom particular at a particular time, what where the atom is, they generate a randomness. Then there is this Cloudflare randomness. They create a random number through their lava lamp. So you don't have to, wait for us to decide a particular way that is a good way. You can put the source and get the data. So what we are going to do, we are going to use a simple free API from Google, and from that API, we are going to fetch a random number, and we are going to create a simple dice game. So we will roll the dice, and dice will be like either 1 to 6, right? Like normal rolling the dice will work. So that's what we are going to build. I won't be covering the front end part. I will give you all the code from the GitHub, and if you have anything, you can ask me, Megabyte, Sarthak, anyone from our team. They will be happy to help. So I'll be sharing my screen quickly.
Yeah, lava lamp randomness was insane. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I when I first got to know about lava lamp and randomness, I was like, boom, like, oh, by the way, orbit.co is our website. You can, go and check it out there. So let's start with, mm, okay. So there is this very good organization, Autonomous Finance. They have created this AO DApp kit, and we are going to use that. Just like create the npm create reactor, it is a similar thing. So they have did a very good job to, optimize and structure the code. So we are going to use create AO DApp today. But before that, I would like the people who are new in the ecosystem, or haven't worked right now, haven't worked much on it. I would like you, if you are following along, to install three things. One is Lua Rock. So if you are on Mac, you can
So,
just run Breeze.
Ayush,
Yeah, sorry.
sorry, quickly to cut you. Can you zoom in on your screen so everyone can see
Yeah,
a
yeah,
little
yeah,
bit
yeah.
better? Yeah, awesome.
Is it better?
Yeah, this is better.
Yeah. So let's install Lua Rock. The command is brew install Lua Rock.
Hmm.
So please
And once
install
you're
that.
installing, can
And
you also like
yeah,
share what these packages do and how they're going to be
yes.
helpful?
Yes. So just like NPM or any package manager, Lua Rocks is the package manager for Lua. It will help you to use it. It will allow you to use different type of packages into Lua, into your Lua process. Just make sure one thing: you can't use every packages that Lua has in the world. You can only use the packages that is supported by AO. So make sure to install those packages, else your smart contract won't compile on AO. So you have to make sure that, and then we have to install two more things, and that is Amalji. Amalji is the testing, just like Jest. Amalji is a testing kit of Lua. It helps
Hmm.
you to write the test and uh, test your smart contract. Though we are not going to use it, but we are not going to write the test cases today. But it is a dependency of create AO app. That's why we will be using it. And then the last one we are going to use it is Lua checks. So what Lua checks is? Lua checks is just like prettier. It makes your code pretty and aligned so that it is compiled in the Lua. That is that. I guess that's all. If there's any issues with it, like, just go to their platform, website, and you will find like it's a very easy thing. I just wanted to highlight that because else your contract won't compile when we will be building it. So let's do npm create AO DAP latest. This is a simple command. Let me add it in the chat also. So yeah. Now here, whatever the name you write here, that is the name with which your project will be deployed. So make sure to write a, write a decent name. Don't just, write process and stuff like that. Else you will be confused when you will be on the Explorer. So I'll do the dice game. And then what should we name the backend process? Let's say randomness. I will go with random, and then you. So there is this thing you can run the whole SQL in AO, and you can use it, but we don't require that. So we are going with the basic template, but you can actually have a SQLite template. And then there is Teal. What is Teal? Teal is just like a wrapper in the Lua. What it does, it helps you to write a type strict Lua code. But we are not going to do that because we have to wrap it up like very easily. So yeah, we are not going to do any testing or perma web deployment. So we will be deploying AO contract, but we won't be deploying on perma web. That is for some other day. But if you want any help regarding that, do connect with me after that. And we are going to use amalji.ua. We are not using Squishy. Squishy and amalji are the same thing, but amalji is more better with AO. That's why we are using amalji. So yeah, it's installed. Let's open with VS Code or whatever, Okay. Now the first thing we will do is npmi. Wait.
Please zoom into this. I was just
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
say thank you.
yeah. npmi. And while it's going through it, I'll show you the whole structure. I'll explain the whole structure. So here it's in apps, it's front end. So again, as I told you, we are not going to work on this. So you can ignore it right now, but it's a pretty basic, React structure. You can understand it very easily. Then in AO, we have this random. So why we have random? With random, you can in create AO app, you can create multiple contracts or multiple section of contracts. So this random is the one we created there. So in AO, there can be multiple folder, and in multiple folder you can have multiple contracts. Let's say you have a DAO and then you have a Dex. So like this. So here you will have two folder in AO. One is DAO and one is Dex. So simply like that. Then in script we have three scripts: build.sh, deploy.sh, test.sh. We are not going to use test.sh, but let me tell you what it does. It will compile all the tests that you write in src directory inside test. It will compile that. Deploy.sh actually deploys your code from your local machine to AO, and build.sh compiles all the code and create a simplified contract so that it can be deployed on AO. Once we build it, I'll show you what is the difference between normal contract and build contract. In SRC, we have library. In library, there is this process.library, and then there is process.lua. So, and then reset module. So let me explain you each of these one by one. Reset module is the simple Lua. What it does, every time you build this particular line, this particular process helps you to cache the whole thing, so that every time you don't have to spend a lot of time to compile this or build this whole contract. If you change a simple thing, it will take that to build it. So this particular thing helps you to cache the whole thing while building process. So what does it mean by that? If you change this particular name, like process underscore lib, you don't want to use process underscore lib or any other thing. So make sure to change it here also, because if you don't change it here, then the cache won't be created and it will be giving you an error. And then in process.lua, this is how you import a file in Lua. Like you require an lib. So lib is a folder. That's why we do lib, and we don't do slash. We do dot. So it's lib dot process underscore lib. If someone has done Python, it's similar to that. But yeah, then all of this particular whatever is exported here. Here we have return mod. So return mod, what does it mean? It has exported mod. And what is mod? Mod is a table in Lua which have multiple functions. Okay. So here mod is stored in process. Okay, we can't name it mod here because mod is a default name used by create AO dApp. So if you use mod somewhere, make sure like rename it because mod is predefined and it will give you error by building. Like I spent like 2 hours to understand this. So yeah. So make sure you don't do that mistake. Apart from that, this is process and then these are handlers. I'll explain you handlers one by one. Let me do one thing. Let me remove all the code here from here. Version, let's keep the version. It is nothing. Let's save it and we'll remove all the code from here. Okay. So this is there, this is there. I have explained you this, I have explained you this. Okay. Yeah, this is processes.yaml. What does this help? This is the configuration through which your process gets deployed on AO. So if you know, like in Arweave, every transaction have some tags which defines which helps you query those tags. At the same time, every process is defined with predefined or base tags which help TUs and MUs to track each message. So this file is the file where you can edit a particular thing. But I have used the default which create a AODAP gives, and it actually creates it according to your preferences that you added in the start. If you want to change it, you can change it. But for now, we are not going to change it. We are going to use it the same. This is the scheduler. Let's say you want to use your custom scheduler, you should add here. And if you want to use your custom CU, not MU, then you should add it here. Not MU won't be added here. For MU, you have to change in AO, but I don't think so. You will require that. If it is a requirement, do let me know. Happy to help. So let's start with. Before starting, let me tell you, so AO is a actor-oriented model. So what happens? You send a message, and then a process receive that message and accept it, and then respond to that particular message. And how it is going to do it? We use handlers. So handlers are predefined things in AO, and it takes three arguments. First is the name of the handler. The second is what is the condition to call that handler, and third is if that condition is being called, if that condition is verified, what should the handler do? So the third argument is function. So these are the three arguments that a handler take, and then based on that, it does a particular thing. So now let's decide. Let create handlers that we require. We need total three handlers. Actually, we need four, but I'll tell you the significance of the four. But we need total three handlers. One is to request Orbit to get us a random number from the internet. The second is to receive whenever Orbit gives us that random number, to receive that random number. Third is a handler which actually returns that random number whenever our front end wants it. So the random number is generated, but we have to use it in our front end, right? So how will our front end know, a random, see that random number? So to do that, we will also create a third handler. And in front end, this is something that, one should use is it's just a read only handler. It is not going to, do any changes. Rather than creating a message, you can do dry run, which helps you to avoid a new transaction or new message being created. So yeah, let's create all the handlers that we require. Uh, I'll name them accordingly. Generate random maybe. read random, not read. Yeah, read random is fine. And then we will do receive random. So these are the three handlers we will be needing here. Now, apart from that, there are few more things that will be required, and I am going to copy paste that because these are the hard coded things. I'll explain you what it is, and here it is. So this particular underscore orbit, what it is the orbit process. So orbit process is deployed already on AO, and from there you have to see whether so from your process, you have to create a request on Orbit process, and then will do all the work with this particular URL. So this is the Orbit process, and then this is Orbit point. So basically, what will happen in future when Orbit token is in the picture, people have to pay a particular fee. So we will say this particular contract is the Orbit point, and from here we will pay X amount of fee, and then we will send that points to Orbit, and then Orbit will fetch the data from this base URL and give you back the stuff, whatever data is there. Now there's one more thing we have to see, like fee amount. It is not this big. Actually, 12 is the decimal places that is accepted by Orbit points. So actually, this number is one Orbit points. It's not like 1 and 12 zeros, like it's not that big, but the point is one Orbit point, and this is a hard coded value because fee module is not being implemented currently. Fee module is not in the picture. That's why it's a oh, my bad. That's why it's a hard coded value. But later on, this fee amount will be given to you directly. So you don't have to check it. But to keep the developer, like, have the mindset to create a contract so that it's in thinking that there is fee also in the future. That's why we added this functionality so that later on the time, this won't be changed. So yeah, that is that. And let's create our all the functions. So before that, there is a very normal structure that most of the Lua contracts go by, and that is this handlers. Like to check that, okay, I think should be handlers capital. Also, I'll tell that later. Handlers dot utils dot has matching tag, and we'll go with action get number.
So I think at handlers.util you put a comma instead of a dot.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. So this is something like, you guys have to check because currently there is this one uh, intelligence that has been created, but sometimes it won't work in my system. If it works in yours, that is actually great because it helps. Again, I put the comma. Handlers dot utils dot has matching tag as matching tag, and we will do it action, and we will do receive, I guess. Receive response. Yeah. So this why receive response? So basically, whenever Orbit returns you a particular type of data, this is the tag that Orbit uses. So this is the tag you have to, tag is given by Orbit. So yeah, you have to take care of that because you are talking to another process. Even if you have built something like that, you will know. Like if you are talking to another process, so whatever that process is returning, you have to add their check, not yours. Utils dot as matching tag action comma read number. Okay. So these are the three things. Now to add the functions, as I told you, we will use. Okay, my bad. I added these. I'm so sorry. Add these things not in process lib, but actually in process.lua. Here we have to add these things. And now what will be added here? Actually, these are the functions that will get triggered. Okay. So let's write those functions first, and then I'll structure it so that, it's better to understand like that. So what happened with function is function takes a message. So whatever message is coming will can be read here. Okay. Then we will do send, and in send we are sending it to orbit points. This is the interesting bit. I'll explain it to you why, and we will add what type of send we are doing. Wait, let me do this. Rather than let me do this. We'll go here, and here we will add all the functions here so that we have a clean code, and we will import it here. So let's do mod dot what is the name? Get generate random. Okay, so mod dot generate random. And by the way, you can actually add your own name. That is fine. You don't have to keep the same name, but I like to keep things simple and readable. That's why I did that. And then you have to add. It will keep giving me error, so let me add end here pretty quickly, and then we can start. And yeah, so what will happen is this is known as, there's a type of table, I forgot the name. So we are using the property of that. So with this, you don't actually have to read the message here, because in here we are actually sending the message. Wait, let me write the whole thing and reply. And it takes 3 arguments. One is orbit points. Okay.
Are you thinking of
Another
meta
is,
tables?
yes, meta tables. Yeah.
Yeah,
So this is
Ankush.
actually meta table. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Ankush. Yeah. So this is actually meta tables. It's a very beautiful concept. Like, it makes your, if you are using meta tables in this Lua, it will make your life 1,000 times easier. Like, it's amazing. Do check it out. So yeah, now Orbit, whenever you send a request to Orbit, it takes certain argument. One is transfer. So actually, to send the request to our Orbit, what we are not directly. Let me open Xcali. I'll explain it to you there in a better way. Okay. I hope you did not get any alpha, but okay. So what happens is, this is the orbit process, and this is the orbit token process. Okay, orbit points process, my bad. So what happens is, whenever user need to create a request here, whenever user need to create a request on orbit, this is orbit, this is points. Whenever user need to create a request here, they can't create it. Let's say this is our user. Okay, user need to create a request here. They can't do it directly. Why? Because they have to pay also. And how you pay in token specs, you have to do a transfer. So there is very great concept of forward tags that has been added. And what it does is, you create a transfer request on points, and then points will create the further message, and that message will tell the third party like what you want to do. Okay, what happens is, user creates a transfer to points, but at the same time user forwards few tags for orbit. For orbit, user forwards that tag. So at the same time, what happens in orbit process, while orbit process receives that particular point, it also receives a request from points process that this particular user has created the request to get the data from X URL. Okay, so this is how it is beautifully working. Here you don't have to give approved tokens or anything like that. You just have to create a transfer, but at the same time you tell points that, hey, I am transferring this token, but at the same time I'm transferring this particular point, but at the same time, I would like you to create one more message for me and send it to the same process. So this is on the basis of this, the whole orbit is working, and in future, many other people are going to use the same thing. So to do that, what we have to do, we have to tell that action equals to transfer is there, that we are transferring this particular point from A to B, and this is going to be on orbit points as I defined here. Okay. Now, after that, what we have to do, we have to tell recipient. Who is the recipient? Now, recipient is orbit. What does recipient take? Recipient takes you don't have to pass a recipient. Recipient is a it can take null also. So if you don't pass, then a token process won't forward any tag. But if you have passed the recipient value, it will create a new message to this particular address, and this is the address for orbit. Then after that, you have to give you the quantity. What does quantity take? Quantity. Quantity. What does quantity take? Quantity take the fee amount. How much fee you are going to pay. Okay. This will be variable. Currently, it's one orbit for the sake of simplicity. That's all. Then these are the tags that will be forwarded. When I say forwarded, what does this mean? This means these tags won't be used by token process, but these tags will be sent to the new message that token process will create on orbit. And what is the structure for that? You just add x dash, just like how we do in our Web2 world. There are some headers with x dash. It tells that this has been created by servers. Same thing is here. X dash and whatever the name of the tag. This is URL, and then we will pass the. I guess what was the base URL, right? So we will add the base URL here, and then one thing more we have to do is action. Basically, this will trigger Orbit to do something, because Orbit had multiple type of action. Just like we added these actions to run the handler. So there's this one handler in Orbit which fetches the data from internet, and the action tag for this is get
So here
real
basically all of
data.
these are the tags of the message you're defining, right? Which you will send to the orbit
Correct.
points process, and then some of that includes the fees, and then some of that includes your request tags, and the orbit points process will filter out the request tags and forward them to the actual orbit process.
Yes. Yes. Perfect. Yes. Exactly. So what will happen? These all tags will be go from user to orbit points process, and these all tags will be present there. From these tags, orbit points will filter out these three tags, because these three tags are for orbit points itself, and then these two tags will be forwarded. That means a new message will be created, and orbit points will send these particular tags to orbit process. And when orbit process will get these tags with a credit notice, with a debit notice, and then orbit point will create a request for the user. I hope that is clear. If it's not, do ask me. Okay. So we have created this one function. Let's add this particular, let's save the file first and add this particular. So we will do it in generate random. And how will we add it? So remember, we added it as a process. So we'll do process dot generate random. So this is how you import a function from another file. So this makes it pretty clear. If you have worked on Lua before and written a like big as this smart contracts, after a time it gets pretty annoying to keep the track of whole file. So I very much like this structure. Then let's add this one more function, that is receive number. What will receive number do? Receive number is a handler that will take the message from orbit. When orbit will send back the message, receive number will read that and set the random number in our process. Oh, I haven't defined the random number. Let me define that. random underscore number,
Hmm.
random underscore number,
So
and
basically, if
yeah,
anyone here is wondering why we have this extra receive number function, Ayush, correct me if I'm wrong, but because AO processes communicate through messages, so the first message is simply like telling our Orbit that we want to generate a random number. And then Orbit's process in return also has to communicate through messaging. That's why we need to ask Orbit's process, hey, can you send a message with that random number?
correct. That is correct. This is the just simple structure of actor oriented actor based model. Though in AOS 2.0, Tom has added a new feature through which you don't have to do it, but
Hmm.
to keep it simple and to explain it in a better way, that's why we are doing this. Else you can also use the receive function and then you can just
Hmm.
do it in a same handle.
Yeah.
So what happens is, what is JSON.report? As the name suggests, so when Orbit sends back the reply, usually Orbit sends the reply in sorry JSON format, and in Lua, in AO, every message or every data is passed through string format.
Hmm.
So to parse that string into JSON, we use
Hmm.
JSON.decode. And
Hmm.
how are we going to import it? Simply just like we did AO, local JSON is equals to require. I have a new keyboard and it is messing me up a lot. JSON. So this is how we import a library. Again, before importing, just check whether it's supported by AO or not,
Hmm.
else you will have a very difficult time, debugging it. And then what we'll set our random number is equals to res1. Now, how you will be like, Ayush, how do you know, res1 will be there? So let me show it to you pretty quickly. That's how I know. This is the URL that we are working on, right? So if I use it on my browser, it returns this. So it's an array. So that's why I know, there's one more thing. It's
Yeah.
five, it's four, it's a random thing, right? So that's how I know it returns a JSON array. And in array, the first value is our random value. That's how I know here also that, this is the where I will get my random number.
Hmm.
That's why I set it here. And
And
then simple,
indexing in
we
Lua
have,
starts from 1, not 0, right?
oh, yes. And indexing, thank you so much. Yeah, and indexing Lua starts from one. I mean, the first language I saw, where indexing starts from one. But yeah, let's do this and then do this process dot generate random. Voila, we have that. Now we need one more handler, and that
Oh,
is to, yeah.
it's the receive number function, right? Not generate random. I think in the previous you imported the different one.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Now we need one more, and that is to send reply. When I say send reply, what does that mean? What does I mean? Whenever front end want to read a particular, particular message, a particular state, how will they read it? They will do read random. And how will we define read random? We'll define it by function mod dot read random. And then what will we do? We'll do simple send. And what will it does? It will do target is equals to target, and then response for uh actually I was wrong. I will explain to you what this does.
Hmm.
This was the fourth handler that I was talking about, and it's not read random. This is send reply. So this is one handler. This is one handler that is used by create AO app itself. And what it does is this particular handler is used by create AO app, and it takes this particular process.yaml and it takes tags and other values from here and deploy our process. So that's why this particular handler is needed. If you are using create AO app, do add this handler, else you will be getting error. And this particular function, do you don't have to create a handler, particular handler for it, but what it does is it takes this particular sorry, processes.yaml and create a while deploying, create a process out of it, like process what will be the scheduler and stuff like that. And then we need read random, right? We need a function to read random. Function read random. And what will we do? We'll do handlers dot utils dot reply. Random number message. Okay, so what actually this function is, this is a utility function. You can check it out in the cookbook. So when you want to directly send a response to a particular message, you don't have to create the whole thing like this. You can just, directly do this handlers.utils.reply. So if you actually want to know how it works, it's just like a, normal middleware. So it gets actually concatenate two functions. So your random number will go in that function, reply function. There the reply will be created, and then the message will take, like, this whole function will take message as the argument, and in that there is another function which will take random number as the argument and then create a message for you. So this is the simple thing, and we will add this read number here, read random here, read random, yeah, process dot read random. Why my intelligence did not take it? Read random function. Oh, my bad. We have to do mod dot, then only it will export it. Read random. Okay, so this is all the, contract part which I have written. Okay, do let me know if you have any questions regarding that. I'll, I'll take 30 seconds and then I will move to how we can deploy this particular thing. So do ask if there is any
There is
queries.
one question here in chat. Can that random number trigger an event?
Can that random number? Yes, that random number can trigger an event. Let's say you want to trigger an event. What you can do here, rather than storing the random number, based on this, you can create another function. Let's say you have a process you want to call, or you want to do any other thing on another process. So based on that random number, you can send a particular message to that new process, and then in that you can do different things. Or you can just write the logic here based on that random number and trigger a event.
Yeah, I think that there is a typo in one of the functions. It's MSG, not MSD. Second function.
Oh yeah,
Big
thank
Dhoni
you,
fan, I
Sarthak.
guess.
Yeah, my keyboard is a Dhoni fan, I will say. And also here I have to pass message, else it will not take. Yes. Yeah, I think we are good to go.
Yeah, so maybe we go ahead
Uh,
with the deployment while anyone has any other questions to ask.
yeah, sure. Let me check one thing. Yes, this is something. So I messed this function up. Let me copy it. I am copying it from the AO repository itself, Autonomous Finance. So all these are taken as the argument. If you want to check it out, let me share you create AO app. This is the link. You can read about the AODAP here. And in GitHub, let me show you what I meant when I said I messed up in SRC util. Oh, yeah. Script. Yeah, this is the particular message that, okay, I am unable to find it, but yeah, basically, this particular thing you will get with this when you create a AO React AO React app, AO app, then you will get this particular message, so you don't have to worry about it. Okay, let's deploy this particular thing. So to deploy it, before deploying, we have to build it, right? So you just have to do npm run, and if you go into package.json, there is this script to build it. So random. So how is this random? Because you created your project as random. If you have created with another name, so your script will be XYZ or whatever the name of your project colon build. Okay. So let's do random build. I have to. Okay. So this, if you are facing this issue, this is how you can change it. Chmod plus X, and then you will go to dot slash AO, and then random, then script, and then we will give permission to build.sh, and also we will give permission to deploy.sh. Okay. Now you can run this again.
Neat tips, by the way.
Yeah. Then see, so these warnings, you can ignore these warnings. I know we don't like warnings, but these warnings are there because of Lua rocks. It's not the issue with AO. As I told you, there are some libraries which is different in Lua and different in AO. Similarly, the code we write in AO is a little different. It's a particular way, and in Lua, it's a particular way. That's why you are getting all this particular warning. Else, you can ignore it. Okay, and then we will. Yeah. Now we have to deploy it. Okay. So before deploying, there's one thing. SE was down, like since evening. There's a good chance it won't work, but fingers crossed. Let's try. Oh, yes, I am missing the wallet.json file. So in the root file, you also have to add a wallet.json file. And this wallet.json don't have to have any, money or anything, but to deploy it, to sign it, you have to add it. Rename, this will be wallet. And this is something like, we have to do. I know we can't read environment variable directly right now in this create app. So what we will do, we'll do export wallet JSON is equals to, what was the command? PDIS.
By the way, guys, customary warning: do not push your keys to GitHub.
Yes, yes. Uh, okay, just one second. Sarthak, can you give me the command directly? Like, I forgot the command. I think this is right, but Sarthak, can you cross check, please? Oh, it's export. Oh, it's cat, right? My bad. Yeah, I think this is fine. Okay. Okay. Dot,
Oh, I think Sarthak has a command for you in chat.
yeah. My bad. Yeah. So the wallet file is exported. Uh, if you want to do check it, you can do echo dollar wallet underscore JSON, and yes, it's here. So now let's deploy npm run random deploy, and yeah. So if you see, there's this AO form created by Autonomous Finance itself, and this AO form help us to deploy. Oh, thank God, our process actually spawned, so that means SEO is working. Okay, I was not expecting
Yes.
that.
Yeah, just like 30 minutes before the session, we had like a quick debugging. So yeah, lucky break.
Yeah, that is amazing. So go to AO.link. Let me ping you this also if you want to check it out. I think it will take some time to come up here. Okay, I
Oh,
mistyped something.
I think in process.lua, oh,
And
handlers dot utils not comma, third function.
oh, my bad. Oh, yes,
Oh
it should
yeah,
be
merge,
handlers.add.
yes.
Yes. While explaining, I use copy paste. And yes, also build it again, then deploy. Oh, yes, that is also true. I wrote the wrong spelling. Yeah, now it's built. Now deploy.
This is guys. This is part of the Murphy's law
Yeah,
of DevRels, which Patrick said last time. When you're live, something always happens, so it's all good.
yes. Yeah, I mean, yes, it's like that. So see, as you can see, this particular, contract has been deployed and it's here. And if you want to interact it, how you can do it, you can go to your, I am hoping that, AOS is already added. Let me do one thing, cd dot slash orbit slash wallets. Okay. So I'll do AOS. We use the name random, right?
Yeah.
Powered by, yeah, random. So how we can access it? AOS random, and then you have to add digest wallet, your wallet file. So my wallet file is process.json, and yes, see, it is the same 6xta, and at the same time, if you check it, okay. So what happens? Okay, this is something that people in forward are already looking into it. So what happens if you remember when we deployed with the same name random,
Hmm.
the same 6x file was created, right?
Hmm.
So now to override it, what we can do rather than, okay, they pushed a new version. Rather than random, what we can do, we can just directly add the process ID here. That also works. Let me check. This is the same process ID. Yes. Now if I run enter, this process ID will be added. And you remember, we haven't called using this, but we have a global variable, no, random number. And the value of that random number is 0. So what we can do, random underscore number, and when we do enter, and we will get 0. So yeah, and we have added 3 handlers. So we can do handlers dot list to check whether there are all the handlers or not.
Do you want to zoom in a little so everyone can see better?
Oh yes, I'm so sorry, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Maybe like one or two
So
more bumps.
yes, yes, now it's good.
Maybe one more. Okay,
Yeah,
this is good. Yeah.
I think this is better. Okay, so I did this. This is the command AOS process ID, then dash dash wallet, whatever the wallet file, then the same process will be handled. rendered, and then there was this global variable random number. We ran it. It was defined as zero. That's why we are getting zero. Then we added like what? How many handlers? We added one, two, three handlers. So here we can see all the three handlers. Default and eval are by default handlers that has been added by AOS itself. So you can ignore it. And then these are the three handlers that we added. So that's the end of the tutorial. There is front end also involved. So what I would really appreciate that if you guys can take this particular particular contract and create a front end and connect it using AO Connect. If you are stuck anywhere, do ping us. We would be happy to help. And obviously, I am going to show you the pre-deployed, like not deployed but pre-run app of the same thing. So there's another, my bad. This is a different app. Let me check which localhost it's running. It's 174 actually. Yeah. Then this is the final version of the app. I will deny that. So let's roll the rise. It will obviously ask to sign. And when we roll it, we'll get a random number. Let's see what we'll get. We got one. Then we will roll it again.
Can we get snake eyes?
Okay, we got one again. So basically, this is the random number. You can get anything. It's like that. Do try it and do let us know how it's working. And if it's not, there's one caveat that I haven't told you guys yet, and that is before running, do add orbit points on your process. So how can you add that? You can ask us any orbit team member. So if you are building along, you can paste us the wallet address in the chat. We will give you 50 or 30 orbit points, and using that, what you have to do, you will have that orbit points in your wallet, and then you have to go to your wallet. Then you have to click on orbit points, and whatever amount, okay, 20, 30, 10, whatever number of requests you want to do, you have to transfer that particular number of orbit points to that process. So my process was Z9SS. Let me cross check again. Z9SS. So I'll be transferring that. If anybody want to use it, be happy to use it. I'll be adding 50 orbit points to that process. So that process can generate up to 15 random number up to 50 times. So do check it out. Do let us know if you have tried it or not. Okay. So if anyone wants orbit points to build this or anything else, do let us know. We will be happy to help you with that. And once the process have orbit points, then you can create a request. Else your process will keep getting error. There was no fee. And yeah, I think that's that. If there is any questions or anything, you can ask me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayush. That was a super insightful demo, not just on Orbit, but I think once this is posted, this is going to be like a great resource for a whole lot of Lua insights and developing your processes as well. So yeah, super cool. Thank you so much for that. Can you maybe touch a little upon what are the applications or what various ways can people use Orbit in their applications? Some ideas, some use cases.
Yes, I can. Just wanted to quickly ask if there's anything related to code. If anyone want to ask, so I'll just stop sharing my screen. Okay, I'll stop sharing. If there's anything, I'll share it again. So yeah, there are very amazing applications around Orbit that people can build. I would be happy to see and support people who wants to build with Orbit. There are amazing projects like there's very good project that people can build is again, as I told you, prediction market. So based on what Trump is saying, or what Vitalik is saying, or what Sam is saying, there can be a very good prediction market. Then there is this if anyone is like the one product which is very much needed in the ecosystem right now is aggregation. So if someone can create a aggregated data, let's say price feed, like I told you, there was this price feed what other oracles do, they create a consensus out of it. But here, people have to ping every centralized exchange to get the data. So if some process can take the, if some process can run a cron on orbit and aggregate the data for particular coins or all the coins and aggregate that data and give it to other protocols. Simply convergent was there, that was in the launchpad last launchpad, right? They needed that very, very importantly, and when we told them that you have to make it, then they were like a little disappointed that there's no such thing exists. So it's like that you can create aggregation, then one can create a bridge using Orbit to feed data to a AI model. So
Mm.
as Apus is building, their infrastructure, there are more and more AI models, just like Super Llama is going to come into the picture, right? And they will be needing data to train themselves.
Mm.
So if someone can make their life easy, just one has to give them URL and every data and everything, they will give URL and pay you, and then you can get the data and everything that is there. Yes, discovery application, it's amazing. If someone can do something like that. So yeah, there are a lot of applications. What I would really appreciate, people think from a little out of the box rather than thinking from the normal Oracle perspective,
Mm.
because this Oracle can give you the data which other oracles can't. So if you can build around that, that will be a unique product, because rest of the product you can build, why do you require Orbit for that? So it's like that.
Yeah, I think that's like really interesting to see what people can come up with other than the typical price feeds. Do you
Yeah.
maybe have any insights on future features or any fun stuff that Orbit is working on that people can look forward to?
Okay, so currently, as I told you, we are working on our verification module, and that is going to be, we are going to launch it very soon once we are confirmed with it. We have to discuss it with Sam first. So once it is there, we will be going to launch how we are working, and that is going to be very, very interesting. Apart from that, I don't know. Like I'll tell the community again. So in September we have a event of Arweave, and there we announced that the main orbit point tokens that we will be there, that will be going to 100% community launch. So all the bridged asset, if you are the holder of bridged asset, you can stake that and get orbit token in return of it. So that will be a very good thing. So yeah, we are looking forward to Feb so that we can see the bridged asset and then we can build the whole thing.
Yeah, all of us are looking forward to that. But yes, we have a bunch of founders amongst us. I think you know some of them. Some might be future founders. Can you give like an insight from your experience that these founders can keep in mind throughout their journey?
Yes. So personally, I'll say what I think you have heard it a lot of time, but in this community, never afraid to ask anything. Like whatever comes to you, maybe it's silly, it doesn't matter. Do ask
Mm.
it. And the best part about here is you can reach out to the big people in a simple text message on Discord. So these are the two things: never afraid to ask questions and be curious about everything, and try to you know build stuff rather than thinking what can be the outcome. If you have an idea, just start building it. Doesn't matter if you complete it or not, or if you get bored out of it, but while you have an idea, just build it, because while building you will learn so many interesting things, or you will have so many things in mind that will create a good product in itself.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. I do agree on the curiosity and the accessibility as well. Just to quickly like touch a little on the latter, from a personal anecdote as well. Two or maybe 2.5 years ago, when I joined Arweave, I was tackling a problem and I reached out to Tom, who is now the CTO at Forward Research. And he explained me how to solve the problem, but he also submitted a PR for it. So that was a very like interesting and warm welcome.
Yeah.
And then there's this other example where there were these gather town sessions where Sam, Tom, and a bunch of other project leaders were just like sitting, and I was just hanging around at that table, and they began a conversation with me up front back then, which was not something I had experienced in Web3 at that point. The good or like the really nice thing is that they are still as accessible. Like 2 years, two and a
Yes.
half years down the line, they're still as helpful, still as accessible. And as the community has grown, the community has preserved those values. So yes, definitely agree on all of the things you said there, and
Yeah.
glad you mentioned it.
Yeah.
Um,
Like to add on it, like I would just say, like, I was never this much confident on Orbit. When I talked to Sam, then I became confident that, I can actually do it. Like that was the conversation which made Orbit where it is. So yeah.
yeah, it's all about the vibe, Sarthak. Yes, definitely agree.
Yeah.
So, guys, do you have any questions here that you want to ask about Orbit, the tech that Ayush demoed, or in general, maybe anything in general about building as well, um, anything at all? Maybe we'll take like a couple of seconds pause here if anyone has any questions. Going once, going twice. Okay, I do not see anyone typing. I think you did a really good job of explaining everything. So, all right, guys, we'll take a break here. We That was Hacker Hangouts episode 3 with Orbit and Lucifer, or Ayush, as I've been calling him all session. Sorry,
Yeah.
but yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We will break out now, and I see a few new faces here. If you guys want to chat, we'll be in the normal voice channel as well for a bit, and I'll see you all in the next week. All right, guys, bye.
Bye. Thank you. Have a good day.
Yep.